1 second.
Does it allow me to go live too?
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who would have thought they'd lead you? Who would have thought they'd lead you? Here where we need you. Here where we need you. Yeah, the tease him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back.
Welcome back. We are now WTRM, the Trim Radio Network.
What is the supernatural realm exactly? Why do people have paranormal or mystical experiences? Is there some science behind it they're not looking at? Why do some people have negative encounters and others don't? What are the best methods to use? And is there some new truth to them? Well, we'll ask these questions on the hit radio show Supernatural Realm with Tim Roxbury, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, with your co-host Chip Reichenthal on occasion, on the Supernatural Realm, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, on the Trim Radio Network, WTRMradio.com, where the truth gets even better.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
That's right. Take the red pill, and I will show you how deep the rabbit hole goes every Saturday night from 9 p.m. to midnight here on the Trim Radio Network.
This is
It's
your
the
last
Red Pill
chance.
Reality Show. See you then.
After this, there is no turning back.
On the Spiritual Freedom Show on WTRM, the Trim Radio Network, you will hear the voice of an extraterrestrial master speaking through my teacher, Dr. George King, as it was recorded over 60 years ago. I'm Richard Lawrence, and every Saturday at noon Eastern Time, I bring you the wisdom of the 9 freedoms, with practical ways to give global service and attain enlightenment.
You're listening to the Trim Radio Network. We cut the bull and serve the truth.
There are actually ways to look at the paranormal realms without all the fearful stuff, and we'll do that. Not just paranormal, but supernatural, psychic, metaphysical, even extraterrestrial realms. There's kindness and benevolence if you look hard enough, and we will. Join us every Monday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern for Kindness Beyond the Veil with your host, Chip Reichenthal. We've got great guests, fascinating information, cool topics, and we'll even make you feel better. Laugh a little. We'll welcome you and ease your fears. Join us Mondays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern on Kindness Beyond the Veil with your host, Chip Reichenthal. Join us right here on Trim Radio Network, WTRMradio.com. That's where the truth gets even better.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
WTRMradio.com, your talk station. And welcome back to Supernatural Realm right here on the Trim Radio Network. We are WTRMradio.com, and our phone number is 803-866-1667. And if you're in the Butler, PA area, the number is 724-602-2826. Well, tonight we got a very, very special guest. She's a good friend of mine and returning guest from last week. We had to end the show a little early because I had some medical issues, but she's back. Her name is Shannon Leichner. Shannon, it's great to have you here tonight. And tell us a little bit about yourself. Shannon?
So the way we always have so much fun every time we're on the radio together, right? So I'm known as what they call a spiritual catalyst. And I help people get through all of their old traumas, their old pains, their old past issues, and help them create a new life and create the path that they actually want to walk on. And I can use that through many different tools. I pride myself in having a large toolbox. And a lot of what we were talking about last week was, when you go through certain traumas, different pieces of your brain open up and you are able to help or acquire other abilities and help people in different ways. And so I have, the normal intuitive gifts. And then I also am able to use that intuition to help people get rid of blocks and things that are standing in their way.
Mm-hmm. Shannon, when people go through traumas like a horrific, shooting or, event like that, like you had experienced in near Las Vegas, does that increase your psychic abilities?
I feel like it does. Maybe not every single person, but if you're already susceptible and open to those types of energies, and I'm not talking about traumatic energies, but if you're already open to the intuitive energies, I feel like it expands your openness even more. Everybody has abilities, but not everyone feels like they are suitable for this type of society.
Well, do you think it's because of fear, because of their upbringing with religion and stuff that kind of blocks that ability or blocks that that part of them to accept it?
I would say yes. I think fear does play a big part in it, and people, they really, if they don't understand or they don't really know how to navigate life with abilities, a lot of them are labeled wrong or evil, or they don't really know how they work. And it's so funny because it's the furthest thing from the truth is, what we are able to do and the things that we work on with helping people has nothing to do with darkness, evil, witchcraft, or anything like that. Not that witchcraft is bad. I just stay clean away from it.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying everybody's born with the abilities, but not everybody recognizes it or wants to recognize it?
Well, we have to remember that we're spirits having a human experience. We are actually spirits in this meat suit that we want to call a body. Mm-hmm. And those spirits, our abilities are like breathing to them. They're just second nature. And when we come here to have this human experience in this meat suit, we actually, I think, almost forget sometimes that we are spirits having a human experience, and we forget how to access those abilities. But I believe that every single person has the ability to access them.
Just some people has a stronger ability than others, right?
Some people have planned it in their path to have the abilities, and other people decided to go in through this life as we'll call as muggles, right? They decided to experience life without abilities.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that past lives play a role in that too as well?
I would say yes. I've worked with a lot of people that have had a lot of past lives that have affected their lives today. We have something called cellular memory. Our cells remember, whether it be in this lifetime or another lifetime, they actually have a memory of what happened in certain times in our life. And those cells will be activated when something similar or even just something in that time frame pops up. I actually had a client one time come to me, and he woke up one day with searing pain in his back, and it was debilitating. And we couldn't understand what was going on. And so we were able to get him a past life regression. And as soon as he had a past life regression, he was able to understand that he not only was injured with his back one lifetime, but many lifetimes. And his brother was responsible for it in his regression. He was able to see that. And he goes, that explains why I never trust my brother. And but after he had the past life regression and was able to notice that, the back pain went away. It was amazing.
And do you think past lives maybe play a role in the health problems that people may have?
I would say yes, some of them do. But a lot of the health problems I'm noticing today that people are having issues with have a lot to do with stored energy and stored emotions. Yes.
Because I'm wondering if my past health issues in the last 9 months have some sort of connection with the past life.
They might actually. They might. And we were talking about last week about some of the energy that you may have absorbed from doing some of the ghost hunts that you had done. And similarly, I would think that you have absorbed maybe some of that energy and then brought over some cellular memory from some past lives that definitely could be affecting what you're doing right now.
What about, like, say, Waverly Hills? I was there once, overnight investigation. And do you think I could have brought some of that tuberculosis energy?
I would think, did you do any investigations in hospitals by any chance?
Yeah, Waverly Hills was a former tuberculosis hospital.
Yeah, I mean, very, very possibly you could have absorbed some of the energy from that. It's weird because we think that that energy doesn't affect us. A lot of us, we think, we just go through lives. We're not affected by other people. We'll just go and do our thing. But energy, we are vibrating cells. In our body, it is a scientific fact that our cells vibrate. Each cell in our body has a sender and a receiver. And so those senders and receivers, imagine, billions and maybe even trillions of cells in our body, each having senders and receivers. So anywhere we go, we are constantly sending and receiving energy. So if you go into a place that has a huge history of something negative happening or a huge history of illness happening, and if you're already empathic and already open to that energy, imagine how much you have been receiving from those senders and receivers of the other cells of the people who were there.
Because I'm beginning to wonder, I had like a murmur in my heart before that, for a while. And then when I started investigating, I'm thinking maybe that may have increased my health issues.
I would think so. So a lot of, what I've noticed is a lot of people who are empathic, who actually can feel other people's emotions and energies. A lot of people that are empathic have heart issues. And I'm wondering what the correlation is between the number of people that have heart issues and the number of people that are empathic.
Yeah, I'm wondering that too.
Because, what was it, 15 years ago, I actually was given a year to live from this whole heart thing. Thank goodness I'm good now. I was miraculously healed, but it was pretty harrowing at first.
I bet. Pretty scary.
Like a cat with 9 lives, right?
I'm starting to feel I am too. At surgeries, could have died.
Yeah, and that's when I truly believe that doctors are practicing. And I'm not going to knock doctors, but when you're given that opportunity and they say you have a year to live, get your stuff together, get your things in order, you're done. And the fact that we can shift that at any point in time, that we don't have to accept that illness as being any part of us. We can recognize, where did that come from? Why am I experiencing this? And how do I heal it? And for me, it was not following my path. I really, truly was miserable trying to be a normal person in a normal job, and I had a nonprofit. I was working for the university. I was doing the normal business thing. And I just didn't want to. I wanted to help people the way that I help them now. And when I chose to jump in and help people and be who I came here to be, the heart condition went away. completely.
Wow.
Yes. So people who are listening now, if you have health issues and you are denying yourself your path, walk on your path, because if you walk on your path, you will heal yourself.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yes.
Huh. I had high blood pressure before I had this, these colon issues with the surgery in my heart. And now my high blood pressure is low, a lot normal now. It's kind of strange, Huh.
It's interesting. We can look at all the illnesses in the world, and you can either narrow them down, not either. You can narrow them down to an anchoring emotion, so an old emotion that has not been dealt with. You can narrow it down to not following your path, or denying yourself who you truly are. Or you can also narrow it down to how it serves you. So it usually every illness has those three factors: an emotion that hasn't been dealt with, you not following your path, or giving your space, or owning your greatness, and then the third one is, how is it serving you?
Mm.
And when I work with people, that's exactly what I do, is we start looking at those three areas first.
Hmm. I still haven't figured out who that man was you told me about last week that was around me. Can't place that yet.
Oh, it'll come. That's funny. Usually when you ask, okay, what was the name of that, whatever it is, song, book, or whatever, and it runs in your brain and it runs in your brain until finally you go, oh, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I told this one lady one time, she was sitting in front of me, and I said, you're going to be going back to school. And she was so angry with me. She said, you're wrong. I'm not going back to school. I've already graduated, and you don't know what you're talking about. And she actually angrily left the session.
Oh my
And
God.
about a year later, she came up to me and she said, I owe you an apology. She said, 6 months after you talked to me, I was offered a job in a school, and I went back to school.
Wow.
So sometimes it just takes time to remember.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually.
Oh, definitely.
I did an investigation one time, and when we got the location, we spoke with the client, and the client told me, he goes, I know you from somewhere. Where do I know you from? And I still to this day don't know how I knew him.
Might have been the cells remembering each other from another time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that there's so many fun instances on investigations, right? There's so many amazing things that happen, but also pretty harrowing things.
Mm-hmm.
We went on this one investigation in Sacramento, and we were investigating a farm, and they were actually filming for a TV show. And in this farm, they wanted to test us. So they brought 3 different people, intuitive people there, to test to see if we could pick up what happened. And so 3 camera teams, and we were being followed by cameras. And I had walked through a doorway, and there was a camera guy right behind me. And as I walked through the doorway, it was completely clear. And as soon as he went to walk through, there was a rebar bar that came down and hit him right in the head and cut his head open.
Oh my
And there was
goodness.
no way that could have been there beforehand. And if you looked at it, it was anchored in, like it wasn't going anywhere. And just things like that, like there are things that happen that are harrowing, but then there's some amazing things that happen. You discover, and you help other spirits with their transition or whatever it is that they need at that moment.
Wow.
I have a question for you. I know that you're the interviewer, but I have a question.
Go ahead. Yeah, you can ask me
So
questions.
I heard the other day about the ghost hunter guys that bought they bought a house in Vegas, and it was supposed to be Pandora's box
Mm-hmm.
or something. And I guess he opened it right before the war started.
Oh wow.
It was supposed to be one of the most destructive Pandora's boxes, and there was so many. He bought a house that housed the box, and supposedly he opened it.
Mm.
I don't know if you'd heard of that.
Was that Zach Bagans that bought the house?
It might have been.
Yeah,
I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy.
I wouldn't want to do that.
No, like, why would you want to poke the bully?
Right.
Yeah.
His shows, he's a little aggressive with his interviews and his investigations too. And finding something like that, I don't know. I don't know why he would do that, knowing that there's something negative in the house.
Well, yeah, and knowing that it was Pandora's box and to open it anyway.
Yeah.
Eesh.
That's crazy. I guess
Yeah,
you have
it's
to, I guess it's to be on a show and sell cornflakes, as they say,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess you need to prove that things are real. And it's so funny because if you watch the movie The Matrix, are we trying to prove that this life is real? That we, as the avatars here are actually real, or is it all just an illusion for us?
Mhm.
I
What
ponder these very deep things.
what about old souls? Chip used to say, "I'm an old soul and I want to go home."
Hmm.
How do you know if you're an old soul, and how do you know how many lifetimes that you've lived already? Is there a way to know?
I'm sure there's a way to know. I mean, I would think that because of our subconscious and our cellular memory, that we would be able to instinctively tap in and ask. I don't know that we want to remember all of our past lives or all the things that we've done in other lifetimes, because I don't know that we were always so good. That I'm sure that we've had games where our spirits go, and this lifetime I'm going to be the bad guy and you're going to be the good guy, and we're going to see what happens, right? And so I don't know. I would definitely, I don't think I'd want to remember everything. However, you were asking, how do we know if we're an old soul?
Right.
And there are very telltale signs. So people who are, and I hate to classify it as this, but people who are very self-centered and it's all about them, and it's all about instant gratification, and it's all about now, you can tell those are younger souls.
Okay.
Because they don't care about anybody else but themselves.
Mhm.
And I've noticed, and I've wondered about this one, I've actually pondered this. Are narcissists young souls, or are they old souls who got bored?
That's a good question.
Because some of the narcissists, they seem very well developed,
Mhm.
but they're extremely selfish, but they're extremely cunning and manipulative at the same time. So I'm still pondering that one. When I have the answer, or if anybody listening could comment on that one, I would love to know about that one. But I've noticed that a lot of young souls it's all about instant gratification. It's all about themselves.
How about them?
They don't, I mean, I do know that a lot of old souls, they get bored pretty quickly, and they need new things. They need to push themselves constantly. They constantly need something to keep them going in this lifetime. And you mentioned something very important, wanting to go home.
Mhm.
I remember even as a child, I would constantly say that to my mom, I want to go home. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're already home. And I'm like, no, I want to go home because I don't want to be here.
Mhm.
So it is a characteristic of an old soul.
Wow. That's pretty neat.
You ever had that, Tim?
Huh?
Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like a melancholy thing. Like, you just, you feel it inside of where home is at.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet people that they're old souls? You just have that sense that they are, and they have multiple lifetimes. I feel that way with my niece, because she's very intelligent, very intuitive.
Oh, yes. I've met a lot of old souls. I've met a lot of young souls. I even met a narcissist that I'm still wondering about. But I've met a lot of old souls, and the characteristics are all the same. What's very fascinating is to meet, I don't know if you noticed, a lot of the younger generation, they're actually incarnating more old souls now. So you talk to these younger generation, and they have the memories, maybe not the memories of their past lives, but they know so much. Like, they have this vast knowledge that they couldn't have at their young age. And I have noticed a lot of those coming in these days.
Shannon, do you think that people are tapping more into their intuitive abilities, or they're asking questions now about who they are and if they have those abilities?
You know what's so neat is that even though we have all of these terrible things happening in this world, what is really starting to be, I guess, socially acceptable is in intuition and energy and understanding energy and exploring who you are. And that's what I absolutely love. And so with that vastness and that allowing for us to have a greater knowledge of what our abilities are and who we are, I do notice that more and more people are asking about it, or they're at least curious. And curious is a good thing because that's the beginning of the awakening for them. But you have an intro about the red pill and the blue pill and the take the pill and you can see. And so once you decide to go down that rabbit hole, or once you decide to allow for your true self to emerge, yeah, you can't go back. You take that red pill and you may not be able to come back to who you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing and a not so good thing sometimes at the same time. Yeah.
Do you think a lot of people will actually find their purpose in life, or do you think a lot of people struggle with that, even with their abilities?
Well, before this craziness happened, people were starting to find themselves a little bit more. They were starting to get a hold of who they were. Maybe not everybody, but there was a lot more people with a direction. And ever since this happened, this whole craziness has happened, I've noticed that there are a lot more people who are lost. It's almost like they lost their connection to who they are, what they want in their lives. And then a lot of people just simply just gave up, or they went into the fear mode, or they went into the disempowerment mode. I really do feel that there's a lot of energy being pushed around that's creating disempowerment at this moment.
Do you think that it forced a lot of people to self-reflect, and maybe a lot of people are scared to to see themselves for who they really are?
Oh, I would say 1,000%. I know that during the craziness that was happening and we were locked down, it was a time for self-reflection. It was a time to really be authentic with ourselves and take that question of how did we get to where we are now? Not looking at everybody else and what everybody else did, but looking at ourselves and saying, my choices led me to this particular moment in time and all of my experiences that happened. And if you could take responsibility for those things instead of blaming other people, then you were ready for the next step, which is self-empowerment. So once you take your self-authenticity, you could go into self-empowerment, and then you could create anything.
It almost seems like there's a lot of people became depressed because we were locked down.
Yes.
They weren't able to keep busy, and they didn't like the fact that had to look at themselves because they were so busy. They didn't have to.
Oh, 100%. You saw the rates, the suicide rates, the depression rates, the anxiety, the hospitalizations just for mental health was on an all-time high. Because we are social beings. And when you're locked down, what happens? When you stay in your house and you don't move, you go into your mind, you go into your thoughts. And sometimes our thoughts are not always the best place to be. I don't know about you, Tim, but I am an overthinker sometimes. And if I sit with my thoughts, they will take me in a place that I don't want to be. But then that's when you have to go back into what is it that's your goal? What is it that you want to create? And so you get yourself out of that rabbit hole of the overthinking and the problems, and you go into, what do I want to create? Where do I want to be? With this time that I have sitting here, how do I really truly take a look at myself and create something better for my life?
Mm-hmm. I noticed that sometimes my overthinking has got me in trouble. Mom's like, you shouldn't have said that. Why do you think that? It kind of got me in trouble because I react to my overthinking to that person, and it kind of gets bad sometimes. It used to anyway.
Yeah, I do my best to redirect myself, but I mean, I'm an overthinker, and especially left to my own devices, I'll start analyzing things because I love to be an investigator anyway, just like you, right? We're investigators at heart. So we want to take a particular topic or a subject and just and take it a piece, piece by piece, take it apart and figure out what it is. But sometimes we're inventing things that don't need to be there. We're assuming that these people meant this when they said that, and we begin to add to the story, which is actually an important point that I wanted to bring up. Did you know that our brains only remember 10 to 15% of the actual truth?
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
So in that 10 to 15% is the actual truth. And then the 85 to 90% is fill in. The brain fills it in. Which is an important thing because it actually will help. It helps with healing. So if you've had people who've had trauma in their past lives or trauma in this life, you can actually have the person go in, rewrite the story, and create the neural pathway in order to rewrite what's been written. And it's pretty neat how we can mess with the brain that way.
I don't know if I mentioned this before, a little bit ago, but did you ever meet somebody and you and him have that connection and you don't know how you met them or how you know them?
Yes, actually, that's happened a lot. It seems like I remember people and I don't remember them, but I know them. About 9 years ago, I connected with somebody and I felt like I knew them even just from texting. And then when I met them in person, there was this instant draw. Like it was almost like I couldn't explain it, but all I wanted to do was be near them. I had to be near them. And when we would separate and go our separate ways or do our own thing, it physically hurt. There was a physical pain. And I realized later on, I think that had to do with the twin flame thing, which is a painful relationship to have or a painful connection to have. But it was so deep and so instinctual that I there was nothing I could do. It was just there. So yes, I have had those. Those are amazing and sometimes not so amazing at the same time. Have you had one?
I have.
Yeah.
I wasn't even able to pinpoint how I knew that person from, but it was pretty interesting.
Yes. I'll tell you a story. My middle son was about 4 or 5 years old, and we were having lunch on the pier. And all of a sudden, he gets up and he runs across the pier, and we're chasing after him like we didn't understand what was going on. And as he's running, I notice a little girl about the same age running towards him.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't know how they both knew it, but they both instinctually, and her parents were chasing after her, and we were chasing after my son, and they embraced in the middle, and they would not let go of each other. We were trying to pull them apart, and they were screaming, and they just embraced, and they would not. I mean, it was so amazing to see. I wish I would have gotten her information so we could have, figured it out, but it was so rattling. First of all, to chase your child and then to see that he's going towards a girl he doesn't know. And then for them not to let go of each other. And he was inconsolable after we separated them. Yeah. So I guess that's a sign of something, definitely a past life, because we didn't know her.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
Did you get her name or information after that, or?
I wish I would have. Her parents grabbed her and just started walking away. And I, at that moment, my son was inconsolable. And I wish I would have now, because then we could have seen what the reason was, but we've never seen her again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And now he's doing great. But it was just that moment where you just never know, when you're meant to be with somebody or you're meant to see somebody or meet them or whatever, it happens regardless, and there was somebody had said this, if you're meant to be with somebody, or if you're meant to have something with somebody, nothing in the universe will mess it up. Nothing can get in the way, because you're supposed to meet each other, whether it's a chance meeting, a friendship, or even a relationship. If you're supposed to be, it will be.
What
Yeah.
about do people does each person come into your life for a specific reason, or maybe something that you have to learn from that relationship?
I would say yes. I would even say more so, even aside from romantic relationships, every relationship that we have teaches us something, gives us some sort of gift. I was in I think I had mentioned this before, I was in a very tumultuous relationship a long time ago. And when I was doing my self-authenticity, I really realized that that person, in their survival mode, in their heavy mode, took time out of their path to give me a gift. And the gift was for me to really find myself, and really to empower myself, and to understand what it is I need in my life. And I wouldn't have had that if I wouldn't have had that experience with them.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a victim of anything that I go through.
'Cause I often wonder about that. Is there a reason why different people come into your life and then all of a sudden they're gone?
Yes. Have you seen that there's a meme from Medea, Tyler Perry, and she talks about how people are supposed to be in your life for a season, and if you try and hold on to them, the whole thing crumbles. But then there are people who grow roots in your life and they stay. So, there's so many differing types of people in our lives. There's some that are supposed to stay for the rest of our lives, and some that are just here to write the chapter that we're working on, and then they move on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder about that a lot.
I had a client one time who had stage 4 cancer, and she came to see me when I was speaking. I was a guest speaker at a ranch in Silmar, and she had driven in the rain, stage 4 cancer, but still drove in the rain all by herself to get there. And she came to me and she said, "I know you can heal me." And at that point in time, I wasn't doing any energy work. I was just doing my intuitive work. And I said, "I'm sorry, I don't think you're correct in this. I don't think I can heal you." And so I referred her to a friend of mine who was a healer at the time. And during this time, her and I became very close friends, and we would meet and talk, and I would tell her about, the angelic realm, and I would tell her about what heaven was like, and I would tell her all of these amazing stories. And one day she calls me and she said, "I can't take it anymore. I need you to help me cross over." And being close to her, I didn't want to let her go. I didn't, she was my friend, and how was I going to be without her? And we went through the whole walking through process and opening herself up to whatever door she needed to have. And that night she went into a coma, and 3 days later she passed. And it was a very challenging thing that I only had her for such a short time, but it was such a gift to have her for that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Very big blessing. And I actually met up with her son about a little less than a year ago, to give some books that she had left me. I wanted to give them to her son. And we had a long conversation about that time in her life. So very, very neat.
Wow. Shan, you ready to take a break?
I am. Yes.
Okay, you're listening to Supernatural Realm on WTRMradio.com, the Trim Radio Network. We'll talk with Shannon Leichner. And now, boy, what a joy it's been. We'll be right back right after this. Okay.
Didn't see no use in sticking around. I was green and busting at the seams to leave. I was sitting on G, waiting on the day I hit 18. I hit the road, traded that county maintained for a 4-lane city street. But sometimes things ain't what you think they're gonna be. What you want ain't always what you need. Don't know what you got till it's gone and you're out on your own. All you want is what you can't get back. Once you let it go, then you know what you have. Don't hold a candle to what you had. Sometimes what you think you'll find, it ain't quite what real life has in store. So be careful what you wish for. She was holding on just a little too tight, talked a little too much about the rest of our lives. I broke her heart thinking freedom would set me free. But sometimes things ain't what you think they're gonna be. You don't know what you got till it's gone and you're out on your own. All you want is what you can't get back. Once you let it go, then you know what you have. Don't hold a candle to what you have. Sometimes what you think you'll find, it ain't quite what real life has in store. So be careful what you wish for. Cause these city lights can't shine quite like the stars. I wish I could wish her back into my arms. Don't know what you got till it's gone and you're out on your own. All you want is what you can't get back. Once you let it go, then you know what you have. Don't hold a candle to what you have. Sometimes what you think you'll find, it ain't quite what real life has in store. And you can't get her back no more. So be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Back there where we need you. Back there where we need you. Yeah, the tease in the lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back.
Welcome back. We are now WTRM, the Trim Radio Network.
What is the supernatural realm exactly? Why do people have paranormal or mystical experiences? Is there some science behind it they're not looking at? Why do some people have negative encounters and others don't? What are the best methods to use? And is there some new truth to them? Well, we'll ask these questions on the hit radio show Supernatural Realm with Tim Roxbury, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, with your co-host Chip Reichenthal on occasion, on the Supernatural Realm, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, on the Trim Radio Network, WTRMradio.com, where the truth gets even better.
Take the blue pill. Take the red pill. Take the blue pill. Take the red pill. Take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
That's right. Take the red pill, and I will show you how deep the rabbit hole goes every Saturday night from 9 p.m. to midnight here on the Trim Radio Network.
This is
It's
your
the Red
last
Pill
chance.
Reality Show. See you then.
After this, there is no turning back.
On the Spiritual Freedom Show on WTRM, the Trim Radio Network, you will hear the voice of an extraterrestrial master speaking through my teacher, Dr. George King, as it was recorded over 60 years ago. I'm Richard Lawrence, and every Saturday at noon Eastern Time, I bring you the wisdom of the 9 freedoms, with practical ways to give global service and attain enlightenment.
You're listening to the Trim Radio Network. We cut the bull and serve the truth.
There are actually ways to look at the paranormal realms without all the fearful stuff, and we'll do that. Not just paranormal, but supernatural, psychic, metaphysical, even extraterrestrial realms. There's kindness and benevolence if you look hard enough, and we will. Join us every Monday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern for Kindness Beyond the Veil with your host, Chip Reichenthal. We've got great guests, fascinating information, cool topics, and we'll even make you feel better. Laugh a little. We'll welcome you and ease your fears. Join us Mondays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern on Kindness Beyond the Veil with your host, Chip Reichenthal. Join us right here on Trim Radio Network, WTRMradio.com. That's where the truth gets even better.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
WTRMradio.com, your talk station. And welcome back to Supernatural Realm on the Trim Radio Network. We are WTRMradio.com. If anybody has a question or like to call in to the studio, for Shannon's available. The number is 803-866-1667. That's 803-866-1667. And if you're in the Butler, PA, Pittsburgh area, you can call 724-602-2826. That's 724-602-2826. And Shannon, it's great to have you back. Are you still there with me? Shannon, you still there?
Yes, I am. I just muted myself so I didn't disturb the commercials.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you.
I was putting those phone numbers down in my Facebook so that people could call in if they wanted to.
You want me to repeat those?
I think I have it. So 803-866-1667.
Yep.
Okay, and 724-602-2826.
That's correct.
All right. I'm putting it in.
Okay, great. Shannon, it's so great to be able to talk to you again. I know last week I had problems with my ostomy bag was leaking, and I had to get off the show.
That's okay, though. I really enjoy our conversations. We've had some pretty great shows.
We did.
I heard on the commercials that Chip was talking about, or I heard Chip's voice. I'm like, oh, it's Chip.
Yeah.
Hopefully he comes back on.
I'm hoping. Do you think he'll come back? Do you see him coming back?
I have a feeling that there's a chance that he will come back. And I definitely will see if I could send him a message. Like, hey, it's time for you to come back.
Yeah, I hope he's not on another network talking. You know, we like him here. This is his home, I thought, so
I
him.
know. We always had so much fun when he was on, too. I mean, we have fun with you and I. However, It was fun with him, too.
It is. It's always fun talking to you, Shannon. I like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many amazing stories, right? There's so many amazing things that we can chat about.
Yeah, Chip used to always say, I'm an old soul and I want to go home. Do you think that's possible, that he's ready to go home?
I hope not. I mean, if you've noticed, unfortunately, there have been a lot of people going home lately. Even some younger souls, unfortunately, from a couple days ago, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing that happened was really sad, yes. And it wasn't the first time. It's been happening a lot, and there's so many differing opinions about it. And It's really sad, especially, anybody that their life is taken from them. That's definitely a sad thing. And when it's children, it's even worse.
Mm-hmm. Why is it that children, young people, want to do that and then kill, murder other kids? Why is it our upbringing, or what is it? Society?
I wonder about that too. I mean, I wonder if something just inside of them just cracks. If there's just they've gone through so much in their lives, or they've experienced so much in their lives, that there's just a piece of their rational brain that just cracks. I definitely cannot understand why anybody else would kill anybody else, much less go in and start shooting, whether it be at children or whether it be at in a concert when people weren't even expecting it, or even in a Walmart. I mean, there's just been so many crazy things happening with guns these days.
Yeah, even a grocery store up in, where was that? Up in New York, up in Buffalo. It's horrible.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier about the increase in fear and the increase in anxiety and depression. And when you increase those things in somebody who's already mentally unstable,
mm-hmm.
I mean, this is like the prime breeding ground for violence. I think we mentioned as well is that our society, unfortunately, I thought we were improving, but our society is so barbaric, and we really need to get out of this stage of barbarianism.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a lot of fear with religion? Also, like organized religion.
Yeah. What are the main suppressors or oppressors? Would be a religion, health. There's some main oppressors, like there's some main things in society that kind of add to the fear. And I think we could definitely say the government is one of those that adds to the fear.
Mm-hmm.
The media adds to the fear. And that's why, it's good that you have these kind of shows, because there are media out there that are actually uplifting and empowering people rather than spewing lies or causing, or fear mongering, causing more fear. So yeah, there's so many things out there that create fear, and religion is definitely one of them. Now, I'm not against people who have religion. Some people need to have that guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely connected to God and all things divine. I just don't believe in fear mongering or threatening somebody. If you don't follow the way that they believe, or you don't follow what they say, you're going to hell.
Yep.
I think that you would go to hell for saying a bad word. And then I was thinking, everybody in this church has said a bad word before, so why are we still here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And then there's those people that say bad words every day of their life or every minute of their life, and they sit in the front pews of church every Sunday.
And what about the parking lots of the churches? People are, almost running other people over. They're screaming and cursing at them. And,
Mm-hmm.
then they go to church and they're all lovey-dovey and happy. And then as soon as they get out again, there they go, yelling and screaming at people and getting all upset.
What's that, Mama? Oh, yeah. Yeah, his wife waves at me, though.
Must be somebody at church.
Yeah, we have a neighbor catty corner from us. They're the Methodist, and I think the husband is they're young people, and the husband is a youth minister at the Methodist church.
Okay.
He won't even speak to me. I mean, his wife will drive by when she leaves and she'll wave at me, but he won't even speak. And my neighbor beside me says, "Oh, you have to speak to him." Well, if he's a minister, he ought to be reaching out to people, and bring him to church. Wanting to bring him to church, and he don't speak with me.
Whatever happened to love your neighbor and turn the other cheek and all those other amazing sayings?
Yeah, and accept people for who they are. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you're going to claim to be of the light or claim to be of the goodness, shouldn't you shine light rather than take other people's light, or even, omit other people and say, I'm not going to be nice to you, but I'm going to be nice to that other person?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Hypocritical.
Yep. I know so many ministers, actually some ministers, but the one that in the church that I grew up in, there's no energy, no aura, no spiritual energy about him whatsoever. But the Orthodox minister, priest in mom's church, he was like, he just walked in a room and everything, the whole place would light up. So you knew he was connected. But these
Yes,
other
I've
mega
met
churches
people like
aren't.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say when your aura precedes you, when your energy precedes you, then you're on the right path. But if you walk into a room and people go, oh, or the whole energy of the room goes down,
Mhm.
you need to check yourself.
Mhm. I get that with my sister sometimes. I'm like, oh God, go home.
There are some people that are just plain draining. They're like energy vampires, no matter what. I mean, they have a problem for every solution that you have, and they have an issue with every positive thing you have to say.
What's that, Mama? Why? Why do you think that is? Mom wants to know. My niece is now 20 years old, and I helped raise her the first 10 years of her life, and she doesn't even come see us, and she won't hug Mom when she sees her. I said, Brittany, hug your grandma, and then she'll hug her, but she don't show any kind of emotion to her whatsoever, and it upsets me. And my sister said, "Well, that's between you and Brittany. You have to work that out with Brittany." I'm like, "You're the mother. You should tell your daughter to hug your grandma."
Or even figure out what's bothering her. I mean, obviously something is bothering her. And so to even get down to the core of why she feels the way that she feels.
What's that, Mom? It's like she don't let us want us to talk to her because of. I think it's partly because we're so open psychically and we're interested in other things other than the organized religion part of it, the biblical part of it. Because our minds are so much expanded outside of that. And I think maybe that she's fearful of that I'll teach her wrong, maybe. I don't know.
There has to be something more to it than that, I think. I mean, I really feel like there's, even though we, people are fearful of what we do still, unfortunately. I mean, they have their belief systems, and depends on how they were raised, on whether or not we're, on the right side of the fence or not. But in that aspect, I mean, since you raised her for 10 years, there has to be something that bothers her. There has to be something that hurt her feelings, or that rubbed her in a different way, or that she saw it in a different way. Or even if someone is talking in her ear about you guys, that she may have gained that perspective. I don't know that it's about what it is that you guys believe in.
What's that, Mom? Yeah, we can't even talk to her to find out what is bothering her.
Mom needs to come and sit with us.
Yeah. Mom, Shannon wants to see you.
I want to say hi, Mom.
She wants to say hi to you, Mom. She's getting her teeth in.
Okay. There are, in society today, there are a lot of people who, like I think we said, that are not educated on what it is that we do, or how it is that we do. My dad is a minister. We're going to call him that. He's in a religious organization. And he truly thought that what I did was evil. And he thought that I was consorting with the devil, and that I needed to have my kids taken away from me, and all of these things. It was just something bad, right? But in all actuality, even my kids said to him, have you seen her sessions? Have you sat with the people that she's worked with? Do you know what it is that you do? You can't judge somebody until you actually know what it is that people do. And I feel that a lot of people that work in this realm that are the frequency of where what we work in, they're all about the light. They're all about the divine. They're all about helping and being in service to the divine energy. And there's nothing evil about that is at all.
Right.
Hi, Mom.
Mom, you guys sit behind me. You guys sit behind me so she can see you. Yeah, get behind me.
Hello. We have to see your beautiful face.
Oh, yeah. My old face.
Mommy, get over here. Get behind me.
I can see her.
There she is.
Hello. So good to see you.
I heard so much about you.
Oh, well, thank you. I think you should be co-hosting.
I have another microphone for her.
I don't know quite enough about it, but I've been following everybody, so.
Yes, I mean, you have all of these amazing questions and comments. I mean, I would love to have you part of an interview or at least a panel one day. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be.
We'll have to have you on maybe on a regular basis, and Shannon.
Yeah, and the three of us can talk about these type of subjects, right?
Yeah.
I told Tim, I said, just make sure you get her on next week. And then that's when he did ask you then.
Well, thank you. So, Mom, what's your name?
Rhea G.
Rhea. Oh, what a great name. Nice to meet you, Rhea.
Yeah, RHEA, yeah.
That's fantastic. So what do you think about this whole thing, the supernatural realm and all that?
I think it's pretty cool. I'm just glad he's able to do it again, because that was his life pretty much. Yeah.
Yes, and you know what? He's going to get better and better, and he's going to be doing more and more.
Well, that's good.
He's definitely got a lot more to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, more happening.
Yeah. My one friend, and she used to be the assistant manager at the senior center where Mom goes to. She says, "Tim, you'll be okay. You got too much hell to raise."
Yeah, I feel like you still have maybe even a TV show there.
Really?
In the works, in the possibilities. Wow. I mean, TV is relative these days, right? So could be an internet show, but I do feel like you do have some more exploring to do, more experiencing. Yeah. You know, I think you've been sitting down long enough, Tim. Enough is enough already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you agree, Rhea?
Right. That's for sure.
Enough is enough.
Yeah.
We know you like being cared for by your mom, but it's time to say, you know what? I got this.
Yeah.
For sure. If we can only get his bag straightened out, that would help a lot.
My ostomy bag, yeah.
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 That's straightened
we can get it to where you don't need it anymore would be even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I have an appointment with the ostomy surgeon, the colon surgeon, sometime in June. Yeah. So maybe he'll have some good news for me. I don't know. He said last time that he won't do it because I have a mega colon, and he's not willing to put his name on that. If something happens, you know.
Well, we're gonna keep doing some digging to figure out why this is happening to you, so that we can figure it out and get rid of it already.
Yeah.
Because what's very important to understand is what was happening around the time right before it happened and right as it was happening, right as the health problems began, because what it indicates is that there's some sort of energy around that. And I know that you were doing some hunting around that time as well, but even look at emotionally, what was going on in the family during that time? What was going on with you personally? Was there any relationship things that were happening? Like, those are really important to indicate what was happening. And then, were there any triggers from those particular instances from your childhood? So did childhood have some parallels with what was going on when all this started?
Yeah, there were some issues with my dad and me growing up because he was an alcoholic, and he'd go on these weekend binges and abuse my mom when he come home.
Well, not really abuse, but
he just with physical stuff, you know. He would like hit her and stuff, and then I would get scared and go to my grandparents for the night.
See, that's a big one right there. I'm sure that's a lot of stuffed emotions and traumas. We have a part in our brain called the amygdala, and it is a file system for all traumas. So every trauma we've ever had will go into the file in the amygdala. And so what the amygdala does is our fight or flight. So it will sense danger from its files, and then it will release the adrenaline that it needs in order to fight or flight. And so even if it's only a perceived threat and not a real threat, the brain cannot distinguish between, like we said, it doesn't know the whole reality. It knows about 10 to 15%, can't distinguish between real threat and perceived threat. It only knows threat. So if there was some traumas with your dad, and then something happened around the time right before you got sick, and it triggered those traumas, brain says threat. So if it says threat, the body goes into defense mode.
Right.
If the body goes into defense mode, it activates any sort of illness or any sort of energy that has been stored from those moments. So how you heal yourself is to release the energy of those old stored emotions and old stored traumas, so that you can begin to allow for new energy to flow, because essentially your pipes are stopped up.
For sure.
Wow.
His dad used to pick on him a lot, and he even got so mad at him that he pushed him down on the floor and sat on him.
On the steps.
And he's a big guy. He was a big guy. Yeah. And he said, you're hurting me, and he wouldn't get up. I almost had to call the cops, but I didn't, because I figured the cops would say, well, you better leave if he wants you to, but he had nowhere to go.
So he did this on the steps. Was there something physical hurting you when he was doing this?
Yeah, I couldn't breathe.
It was on the kitchen floor too.
Yeah. It was on the kitchen floor.
He sat on your chest, or what part did he sit on?
My chest.
Yeah, just about where it's at.
Yep.
Where you're having the pain?
Yeah.
Where he has his bag, yeah.
Where I have my ostomy bag, yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
He traumatizes you. He causes a sense memory pain. So the body gets triggered, and then the body goes into full defense mode and begins to harm you exactly where he used to sit.
Yeah.
That's where
interesting is that?
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah. Right on my upper chest, my chest area. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where my ostomy bag is. So that's weird.
Okay. That is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in other words, you still have stored trauma in your chest from that time. And from what your mom said, it was more than once, right? That he did that?
Yeah. Yeah. A couple times.
And was it done at least 3 times?
About 2 or 3, yeah.
Because if we think about it, right, so 3 is a very powerful number when it comes to energy, right? It's that trinity, and it's like locking something in. So if you did it 3 times, that locks that energy into your chest.
Wow.
Now, it's not locked with the padlock, it's just locked sitting there. But how interesting is that? Maybe you and I'll have to have an off-the-air conversation, and we'll see if we can start to move some of this stuff out so we can begin to help you get better, because that is a huge trauma.
Oh, okay.
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
So when you started to get sick, was there something that triggered similar to what Dad did? The abuse that Dad was giving you?
As far as emotionally or physically?
Either.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. What were you doing last summer?
Last summer?
Yeah, because that's when you got real sick then.
Nothing really. I don't remember what I was doing last summer. I know we went to the, park with Brittany the one day on Father's Day, and that's when I was real weak, I couldn't hardly walk very far.
And then you got worse after.
And I got worse after that, and then we had to pack my stuff up because they had to do remodeling in the apartments, and I was too weak to even help you, so that's when I noticed it.
And that was the girl that you guys watched for 10 years?
Yeah, my niece, yeah.
So
I noticed it on Father's Day because I didn't have that much energy to even walk then.
was she acting differently then too?
Yeah, she was.
Interesting.
But
So
she was talking to me. She has a good relationship with me, but not my mom.
yeah, so if you noticed, I mean, your dad had a bad relationship with your mom, obviously, if he was being abusive, right?
Right.
And then your dad, he let's essentially say he was rejecting you and harming you.
Me a lot, yeah.
But there was an energy of rejection. So niece comes in, niece has a bad relationship with mom, then begins the rejection cycle.
Mm.
So your brain might have recognized that cycle as threat. We're having the same type of thing going on here, bad relationship, and now here comes the rejection cycle. So it triggered everything. But I'm thinking this happened way before last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now you may have started to really have pronounced symptoms, but I'm thinking it's something deeper.
I had digestive symptoms long before that, yeah.
Yeah. So what I would say is, between now and the time we actually talk privately, begin to look at, okay, when did the symptoms start? And then start just listing all the traumas or all of the things that kind of hurt your feelings or whatever would remind you of your past traumas. Make a list of them, and then we can pinpoint which one of those is the root.
Okay.
I mean, this is investigation, right? So this is right up our alley to be investigators. I mean, I think I could do this every day, all day, is just to begin to investigate why things are the way that they are.
Yeah, I wonder.
And for those people who are listening, if you want to know why a certain ailment has happened or why something is happening in your life, you have to back up to where, first of all, to your childhood, find those traumas in the childhood and what's been suppressed. But then you also need to look at when it started, what was happening at that time, what was going on at that time. For instance, I had a lady come to me. She was stage 4 cancer. She wanted to be healed, but she didn't want to be healed all the way. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, what are you talking about? And she said, well, when I first got sick, my husband and his family, they didn't really like me. And so ever since I've been sick, they really love me and they're giving me attention. So if I'm better, it's going to go back to the way it was. So only heal me so I don't die. Right? And I just found that, I mean, it just blew my mind why someone would want to even remain ill. But like we said, the 3 factors, right? The stored emotions, the traumas, and all of that kind of stuff. You're owning your greatness and doing what you're supposed to do here, and then the how it serves you. So those are very, very key factors in healing somebody from their illness.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had trouble with my cousin. He didn't like us either, and he was always making trouble for us. He lives catty corner from us, and that was stressful.
So I wonder if there's a belief system in the family of you two against them. So it's us against them. Whoever them is, they are whoever it is. But if there is an energy or a belief system that it's us against them, and if it is, that's a belief system that needs to move out as well, because then what it does is it closes off, like we were talking about, the energy flow. If there's no flow of energy, it stays stagnant. When something stays stagnant, we already know the body begins to, go into issues.
Yeah. I know with my niece, my brother said one time that he said, maybe it's how your mom believe, it's your belief system, your religious belief system, or lack of it, basically. why she don't bring Brittany over.
Oh, that's interesting. See, we were talking about somebody talking in the ear, right? They have things to say, and obviously they don't agree. But I don't know that it's coming straight from her.
Yeah.
And then my cousin Tim was over here a lot, and he used to say, "Why is Tim over at your house? He don't live there. He needs to go or something." Huh, Tim?
Yeah, get
How
my
did
own
I say
place.
that?
Yeah, I
He
forget.
needs to get his own place. Why is he always here? I said, "Well, he helps me out." Now he made up to him, so I don't know if he really feels bad for him or not. But
Well, he's there because you two are a team.
Right.
and he believes in, he does a lot of
Concept therapy.
yeah. You ever hear of it?
I have never heard. What is concept therapy?
It's like putting out in the universe what you want, and then you get it.
It's a belief system.
Like manifestation?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like a manifestation. He's like, say he has yard sales, and he says he's going to sell a number of bicycles or a number of lawnmowers. And he puts it out there to the universe, and then he sells it. He gets his money, the money that he wants, and sells everything.
Yeah, it's a creation of intention. So you align yourself with what it is that you intend to create. And once you align yourself with that, there is no other option.
Right.
There's a video, my most favorite video of all time on YouTube. It's called "We Are From the Future." And it talks about how cells, through that photosynthesis, the cells of the plants, the light makes it in through with near impossibility. Light actually will ignite the cells. And it talks about how we think things are impossible, but when you align yourself to what is possible, or when you align yourself to the limitless possibilities, then you allow for things to happen. So when you're talking about concept therapy, when you already have the concept, which is the thoughts in your mind, when you already have those thoughts in your mind, those are your intentions. And as long as you know it to be true, it is. Right? Once we know something to be true, it is. Same with illness. There's a thought process of, love your illness and own it and all that. I think that's a bunch of bull crap, and I'm just saying it on air. I don't really care. Here's me. That's bull crap. Do not pull that energy into yourself. Don't own it. It is not yours. It is a symptom. It is an issue outside of you that is affecting you, but it's a temporary symptom outside of you. So when you understand that if you align yourself with something, you draw it. If you're out of alignment, then you're going to draw those things that are going to harm you. But when you're in alignment with what it is that you actually intend, you create bigger, better, more spectacular. So I really like what your brother is saying when he talks about that concept therapy, because all it is aligning your thoughts to what it is that you want to create.
But can't you use it in a bad way, though?
Yes.
And I think I think he's done that before. Yeah.
Here's the great thing about that, though. When somebody creates bad for somebody else, and this is for everybody, because I will tell you, we really need to watch our thoughts. Some people get mad and they're like, I wish they would just whatever, right? Jump off a bridge or whatever, right? How many times have we said that? We need to be very careful with our thoughts, because the thoughts are intentions. And so you send that energy towards that person. But when you do that, remember, when you're pointing at somebody, you've got 3 fingers pointing at you and 1 in alignment with the divine. So you're already having that energy circle back to you. I knew somebody who was very big into witchcraft, and not a friend of mine, just somebody that I knew. And I didn't know they were into witchcraft until after the fact. However, they did a lot of really bad things to people, and they instantly started to get sick, and they developed cancer in the body, and they were getting sicker and sicker and sicker. So the more bad things that you do to people, the more that energy comes back. Karma always knows your address. And what do they say? Karma is the most patient gangster out there.
Oh, yeah.
So I stay in the light. I don't do anything that goes against anybody else's free will. I make sure that I'm a good person and that I make as much difference in this world as possible. Not because I'm scared of karma, but because I don't believe in harming anybody.
Right.
Yeah, my neighbor, she's like 78 years old, and she was mad at Tim one day, and she said, "Oh, go jump off a bridge."
Yep.
Yeah, and she told Tim that.
Wow.
And I even helped whenever she moved into her son's house. I even helped them move furniture and, and done a lot of stuff for them.
And you know what's fun is that you can actually, there's a saying that when you're in alignment with the light, you're in alignment with the divine energy, no malevolent intention can ever hurt you, because nothing is more powerful than God's light.
Right.
And so as long as you're in alignment and you're in your personal power, then you don't lend power to things that can harm you.
Like Chip used to say, there's no such thing as a curse unless you believe in a curse.
Exactly. Now, the crazy thing is that our cells and our DNA is actually made up of all the belief systems of all of our ancestors. So sometimes there's a belief system inside the cells of the DNA that believes there was a family curse.
Yeah.
And those cells continue on inside people's bodies, and they lend to that curse, knowing it or not, because they're already in that energy. That's what needs to be moved out sometimes and needs to be cleared, because we are not our ancestors, although our DNA would say otherwise. We can choose to be our own sovereign nation, our own sovereign energy. We do not have to subscribe to what our ancestors did or our ancestors believed.
Right.
My grandma and her sister had a discussion one time, and my great aunt believed that there was a family curse because of what happened to her grandson. Her grandson died at the age of 13 in his sleep, and my great aunt said something to grandma about it. And grandma said, "Oh, shut up! There's no such thing as a curse. That's not true. Shut up."
Yeah, they thought maybe there was the family curse. That's what she said. And then, everybody else started believing it too, because my brother died when he was 41 years old, and he was the first child. And then my cousin's boy died. He was 13, and
Same age as me.
And then a couple of years ago, my oldest nephew died. He was 60.
And grandma had 13 grandchildren.
So it's like all guys that died, and that's why they think it was a family curse.
They create mass hysteria, right, with belief systems.
Right.
Oh, if you stick your toe in the water, you're gonna lose it, or whatever. I don't even know, but so some craziness about that, right? And so one person begins to believe it, and then what it does, just like we were talking about the trillions of senders and receivers, the senders and receivers now go into memory mode of, oh my goodness, what if this happens, and what if that happens, and then commences the overthinking, and then we just create that energy ourselves. It shows the true power of our thoughts. Our thoughts are so extremely powerful.
I think I overthink it too much too.
You overthink. You're always telling me to settle down. I overthink everything.
Yeah, you do too, but different times.
I think all of us overthink, and that's when we need to redirect. If we are overthinking, we are out of alignment with the divine energy. We are out of alignment with our flow.
Do you think that the reason why my niece doesn't come around, my sister don't bring her, is because of our belief system, or lack of belief system, or organized religion?
I think it's because somebody's been talking in her ear about maybe your belief systems. And she, like I said, one person begins to speak it, 10 other people believe it, and then it just turns into craziness. I knew somebody one time who was not spiritual at all. I helped them to become spiritual so that they could open up their energy and really truly explore their complete capabilities. And they went a little bit too far into the rabbit hole and started jumping into conspiracy theories and I hate to even bring this whole topic up, but to flat Earth and all of these crazinesses, right? And I know that there are a lot of people that believe that, and I actually, if that's what you believe, awesome.
Right.
However, their energy became very combative and very aggressive. And if you didn't believe the way that he believed, then you were an idiot, and you were causing great harm to everyone else that was around you. And I'm the type of person, if you have a belief system, I respect you for it.
Mhm.
Whatever your belief system, awesome. As long as you believe in something, wonderful. However, it is not to harm other people. So don't use your belief systems to oppress or to judge or to harm other people. So when it goes into that area, when belief systems become harmful, then I can see why there would be a little bit of hesitation of hanging out with that person. But if you're just believing in divine light and that there's amazing, wonderful energy in the world, and yeah, there's something a little bit more than what we see in this earth, nothing wrong with that. I mean, we've had many conversations. I've never heard you once, talk bad about anybody with any belief systems.
Right. And I don't.
Tell her about the lights that you saw on their survey.
I missed it, Rhea. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I don't know if you saw the video on Facebook, but the other night we had like lights on our surveillance camera outside.
I saw that. That was so neat. It had like a light that went here and then it shot over and then it came back and it looked like it got a little bit closer and then it backed up. I was watching that. Yeah, you definitely had something getting caught on video there.
Yeah, it happened. It went on all night, and then last night there was nothing.
I wonder if you ask them to come.
Maybe.
You know what? I have a family swing, and I've had it. Well, it was on the Doddles, and I always wanted it. And whenever my sister sold the house, I wanted to swing, and she said no, it goes with the house. Well, my sister saw it in their garbage.
Your other sister saw it.
Yeah, my other sister saw it in the garbage, so she told me they threw the swing out. Do you want it? So I went and got it, and we've had that swing since I was 6 years old, and now it's on my porch. And I said, okay, Mom, whoever wants to come here and sit and talk, because my mom always used to sit on there and clean vegetables and, would talk, and she'd feed the grandkids when they were younger. And there's a lot of history there, a lot of conversation.
Her and Auntie used to sit on the swing and sit on the porch at night, and I'd fall asleep on the swing.
How amazing is that, to have that piece of history there with you?
I wonder if that's what the lights were from. I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, I was looking at those lights. I thought they were really neat, but it was pretty phenomenal. You definitely had something going on there.
Mm-hmm.
When we first got the surveillance cameras, oh my gosh, we used to have all
every night.
What are they called, Tim?
Just orbs and different lights like that
around that porch and everything, different sizes, and they'd fly around and they'd shoot out.
I'll tell her about the dove on Billy's birthday the other day on the porch.
Oh yeah, my sister was here. She brought him some goodies from this. They own Cummings coffee shop. They have baked goods there. So she brought a whole bunch of goodies for Tim, and she didn't want to come in because she said something about COVID.
Yeah, she's afraid of getting COVID or me getting COVID or something like that.
So when we were standing there, she was talking, and this dove flew towards us, and then it left. And whenever her son died, we had by our dogwood tree, we had 3 doves that flew around it before he died. And then that dove came when she was there, and it was Billy's birthday. It was the day before Billy's birthday, so I think
23rd.
She went up to the cemetery,
And you had that pair of 3 doves flew through the porch the one day last summer.
Yeah.
That's so phenomenal. I mean, the spirits definitely they find ways to communicate with us, and whether it be through pennies or birds or
dragonflies, even. Yeah.
Dragonflies are very popular. Butterflies are very popular. Even sometimes you'll see like all of these little flashing lights like in front of your eyes or something. Yeah, there's lots of ways. I mean, temperature changes in rooms. We have I've often thought about putting a camera in my room to see what happens at night, but I think I probably wouldn't sleep anymore after that. We have a lot of activity here in this house sometimes, but it's not bad activity. It's just I think, I don't know what's come with us, our family members or whatever, but you'll see out of the corner of your eye a very clear figure. Our doors open sometimes, and last night we even have this projector that puts stars up on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And when we came home last night, the projector was on and our door was open, and no one had been home. And we were both talking about like, who turned on the projector? And both of us were like, well, we're here. We couldn't have turned on the projector, so we have no idea who turned it on. And then it turned off by itself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Lots of activity. I was going to tell you. So I did a ghost hunt one time for a TV show. And the producer was telling me about one time when he had to go to this children's hospital. And he said that he had to stay there by himself with a camera. And he said that he kept seeing these children running and all this like crashing and people throwing things. And he said he was all by himself in this abandoned hospital. And he said, what do kids hate the most? What would these kids hate the most? So he gets up and musters all the courage he can get. And he slams his hand on the table and he goes, okay, you little shits. He goes, it's time for your medicine. And he said it was quiet for the rest of the night. He said everything left. So I thought about that. I'm like, you know what? We had a lot of activity in our house one time. So I grabbed a broom and I was like, okay, if you're going to stay here, you're going to at least make yourself, useful and clean the house. So I put the broom in the middle of the floor. We had no activity for months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No one wanted to do housework. Wonder why.
I even notice with my cat a lot of times, like in the middle of the night, like 2:00 in the morning, he'll just run up and down the steps for no reason.
Yeah, he starts real fast. Hunt him.
Yeah, like he gets spooked or something.
And then he'll hide under the bed. A couple times.
Yeah, animals are really perceptive.
Mm-hmm.
And he was even breathing heavy too. He ran under the bed a couple times. He's good. Scared me because that's when Tim was in the hospital. And I was by myself. It's like, what did he see?
Mm-hmm.
Babies are really perceptive as well.
No.
Okay. Oh, babies are, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. I remember the day my niece was born. I was holding her in my hand, and her eyes got so big, and she just smiled and stared at everything. She looked up at the ceiling, then looked at me and smiled, and she was looking all around.
How fantastic is that, huh?
Mm-hmm. And then I gave her to her mother, and she started crying.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Mm-hmm.
Some even as babies, they recognize.
Yeah.
Your mom is so much fun.
Yeah. What do you have on the stove, Mom? Did it burn the pan?
She forgot something on the stove, huh?
Yeah, she has split pea soup on the stove.
Oh, yes. So have you ever had any amazing, I'm sure you have, any amazing encounters?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, we did a former prison one time. We caught a full body apparition of a little girl in the basement of the prison. We thought maybe it was the warden's daughter, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
And then one time at this haunted tunnel in West Virginia. We caught a full body apparition of a railroad worker carrying a lantern.
Neat.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen them on my Facebook or not. I'll have to
I'll
show
have
you
to
some.
look.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those pictures too. I actually caught a full fairy in a picture one time from an iPhone of all things.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a ranch in Sylmar that has a lot of activity, and there's a place called Fairy Field on the ranch, and so we went and sat, and we we're trying to get like push out energy to draw in energy. And there's a picture of me, and you can't even hardly see me. There's all of these spots, all of these lights. And maybe I'll even post it on Facebook just so people can see it. But it was just an amazing sight. And they actually took the picture and blew up one of the orbs, and it's a full apparition of a fairy. You can see the wings and the head and the feet, and it's really cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So there's some really neat things out there in the world today.
Mm-hmm. It's weird that the burns in it was in Kittanning, Pennsylvania. It's about 45 minutes from me, and my cousin and I were investigating the basement area, and I said I feel something in front of me. I said start taking some pictures, and there was an apparition of a little girl in the basement, full body apparition.
Oh wow. Have you seen some of those videos where they're doing ghost hunts and they open the door and there's something sitting in the corner?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just like, oh my God, I think I would probably just freak out. I used to be so scared of ghosts. And then I decided to face each and every one of my fears. And so I was invited to present at the Queen Mary, this paranormal festival that they were having. And so I was invited to join a crew that was filming a paranormal investigation of Queen Mary. And the Queen Mary is super haunted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So we had, they wanted to play tag. I don't know if you know, at the pool, there's a girl that leaves footprints at the pool. And so we went to the pool, and the guy said, all right, everybody stand still. Don't move. The girl likes to play tag. And all of a sudden I see this white bobbing light heading towards my son. And he said, Mom, I think something touched me. And then I said, well, tell him that you're it, and he goes, no, I don't think it was anything. So they put a camera right on my son. And then I kept telling my son, okay, say you're it, and he was like, no. And all of a sudden you hear him go, ow, and on the camera, you can see this white light pushing right at his arm to say that he was it. And I said, you better say you're it or it's going to get worse. So, yeah, we caught some really good footage of some things that were happening on the Queen Mary. It was really cool.
So I heard it was pretty haunted. Is there like a lot of activity there?
Yeah, there's even in the boiler room, there's a ghost name. I think they call him Walter or something. Henry, my bad, Henry. And he's been known to attack people. So we went down at 3:00 in the morning with the cameras and sat in the pitch black. And I kept feeling something just like rubbing my face. And it was probably the scariest thing. And you hear all this banging and everything happening. And we were really, I had brought my son because, he was my ghost hunting partner at the time. And we're sitting next to each other, and we're all just terrified because we're catching all these things on the camera. And out of nowhere, and I know my son will be embarrassed, but out of nowhere, my son farts.
Oh, no.
And it just broke any sort of fear that any of us had. And we all started laughing. And the guy who was filming goes, well, Henry, I guess his farts are scarier than you are. We're out of here. But yeah, we had some really good times exploring Queen Mary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that. I heard it's really haunted.
Yeah, did you hear that they want to sink it?
I did, yeah. Well, what's the reason for that?
They were saying that it was going to cost more. They haven't sunk it yet, but they're saying that it was going to cost more to renovate it than it would to sink it. And I think that, that would be such a terrible thing. because I mean Queen Mary has been here in LA for how many years now, and I really think they should call it a historical landmark and not allow for anybody to be able to do anything damaging to it.
I heard that when people investigate, a lot of times they'll take the energies of the spirits home with them unknowingly or something. Does that happen often?
Yes, and that's why it's so important to be one in alignment with your divine energy, right? Your divine self, but also to know how to clean yourself off and to make sure that you don't have any hitchhikers. So one of the things that I do, or I did, I don't do ghost hunts anymore. But one of the things that I did was I would make the intention before I went in that I was surrounded by light and that I was completely protected, and that any spirit or any energy that I encountered, they were only in that encounter, and they were never allowed to piggyback off me or meet me or whatever after. And it seemed to work, except for one time. There was a little girl in this place that we are investigating, and she was murdered by some men. It used to be an empty lot, but then they put apartment buildings, so every apartment building was haunted by this little girl. And so done with the investigation, did our best, or actually we actually worked to cross her over. We believed we crossed her over, and then in the middle of the night I hear some tapping in my hallway, and I went, oh no. Like the one thing I did not want in my house was another little person. So I walked down the hallway and I can see her sitting in the dark. She was illuminated very slightly, but she's sitting at the end of my hallway, and I'm like, oh no. Like, this is one thing I do not want in my house. But she only came to say thank you, and then she left. So, but yeah, you can have hitchhikers, and it's always good to, wear a cross, keep yourself as protected as possible.
Yeah. One time I was talking with Steve DeShabi from the Dead Files, and he was talking about Amy Allen, and Amy told Steve that I brought the spirit with me. Steve was like, "What the heck did you do that for?" He's like, "I invited him to come home with me, and he was the family was being affected by it, so I brought him with me."
Oh wow. Yeah, why would you even do that? Why don't you just invite them to go home? Invite them to cross over. You don't have to take them with you.
Tell her about that room that we had at Hillview.
Oh, we did a paranormal investigation. Not a paranormal investigation. We did a paracon at this former nursing home. It used to be a nursing home, and then it was a home for boys or something. Yeah. Anyways, we were setting up in this room to sell our stuff, our rosaries and stuff, and we had a couple people come in and say, "Oh, you got the good room, the active room." I'm like, "What?"
We didn't know what they were talking.
We didn't know what they were talking about.
They never did explain it. We don't know what happened there.
But we requested to get out of there though and go across the hall.
Did they let us?
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Did they let us?
Yeah, because there was someone else, like a split room, like a 2-patient room. And we had vendor on one side and we were on the other side. So we
let us change.
Yeah, they let us change then.
And then that other room, they said the one on the end was like that too.
Yeah.
But we didn't change from that one.
Right. They never did tell us what happened in that room or what was going on in that room.
That was weird.
Yeah.
The one thing I do not miss from ghost hunting, and I'm so glad I don't do it anymore, is sitting in a dark room for hours at a time, trying to catch things on camera and talking to the air. And I don't miss that at all. And I don't miss the feeling of just being completely drained after, and just that down low feeling that you get after. I don't know if you ever experienced that, but after the investigation, where it's just, you just feel like every ounce of you has been drained out.
Yep. We investigated Waverly Hills and Louisville, Kentucky one year, and it must have took me 6 weeks to get rid of that energy and feel normal again. From all the tuberculosis patients and stuff, everything what happened there.
And I'm wondering how much of that you brought back, how much of that energy just kind of sat in your cells.
Yeah, I wonder that too. My
Yeah.
dad one time got mad at me because he liked me doing it, and then we had a light bulb pop when I was sitting down here in the dining room. He goes, "That's because them damn ghosts you brought home with you."
Isn't that interesting? I mean, he was such a big part of your trauma when you were a child, and then he criticized your work. And it was around the time that all of that other stuff was happening, right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
tuberculosis thing. Isn't that interesting?
Hmm.
You're like, let me show you my work.
Yeah.
Except for you showed yourself instead of him.
Mhm.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Joke.
It's weird that, he and I didn't get along when he was alive, but then when he was in a nursing home or in a hospital, he was asking for me or hollering for me. One day we went down, he was in a hospital, and we went down to the cafeteria. And they said, "Are you Tim?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "He was hollering for you the whole time, screaming for you."
He probably needed to make amends before he left.
Yeah, and then I did make amends. I told him I was sorry, and he started crying, and that was the last time I seen him alive. Because
Did he say he was sorry?
Huh?
Did he say he was sorry?
No, he just got tears in his eyes, and that was the last I seen him alive. Then he went to where'd he go after that? He went to hospice after that, and he died on the way. Mom
Oh
was in
man.
the ambulance with him.
Die on the way.
Well, he died when he got there.
Yeah, but you weren't there yet.
I know. But you said his eyes started going shut
Yeah, they were.
in the ambulance on the way over.
Interesting.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there's so many avenues there, right? I mean, he didn't get a chance to make amends and apologize or even recognize some of the stuff that he did to
Right.
cause you trauma.
Mhm. And I was the one that apologized to him, and he started crying.
Oh wow. Yes. How interesting. Did he ever make amends with you, Rhea?
I don't know, not really. I was just thinking about that. Whenever I was with him in the hospital, he was just laying there, and he looked at me, and he kind of like gave me a dirty look, and I really felt bad. And then he kept like staring at me real mean. And then the doctor said, "Hey, Mark," and then he goes, "Oh," and he shook his head like surprised that the doctor was talking to him.
Well, he did that because he told me and you that he didn't want to be on ventilation system. And then when he was in ICU, he woke up from and when he was on a ventilator, and I think he was angry that we put him on. It was us that put him on a ventilator, and it was actually Tammy.
How ironic that he was having trouble breathing towards the end himself.
Yeah. And then he found out his kidneys were bad. They started giving him, what was it? Dialysis, but it didn't work.
I'm wondering how much of his energy you're still holding on to.
That's a good question.
Especially considering he had trouble with his chest.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I released all that anger and hurt from the past, but maybe I really didn't.
Yeah, that'll be one thing we work on. Yes. And I mean, the sad thing is that when parents do wrong to their kids, if they leave and don't get a chance to make amends or at least apologize for that, the kids hold on to that energy. I mean, they may do it subconsciously, of course, but I mean, they always have this hole that was created by the parent who could have easily just recognized their wrongdoing and fixed it. Now, I'm not saying easily fixed it, but they could have at least repaired some of the energy.
Yeah.
So sad.
Mm-hmm. Could my current issues be tied to a past life?
I would think that, I think that's a very good possibility. I mean, you could have some cellular memory in your body that is also affecting it. If I were going to have that time with you to talk with you, I would first handle this life, and what's going on, and then see if there's any parallels in any of the cellular memory that you have that might be reinforcing the energy that you're going through.
Mm.
There's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Maybe you have some unsettled energy, some unresolved energy with your dad over how many lifetimes, and you guys just couldn't quite fix it.
That's possible.
But the great thing is that you're still here, so you can resolve it now. You can
Right.
resolve it in this lifetime, so you don't have to have another one with him doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Mm. Another thing that's interesting too is when he was sick, Mom would ask him to go somewhere, do something with her, and he would say, "Take Tim with you." He was, take Tim with you. You go with Tim, and because he never wanted to go, or he didn't feel good, or he wanted Mom and I to be close because he knew he was going to be leaving. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that he wanted to prepare you for being the one to take care of her when he was gone. But I think there was also maybe he felt guilty and he didn't want to be alone with you.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, at least from what I'm feeling, he probably passed with a lot of guilt.
Yeah, I think so.
And pride and not being able to say what he needed to say. Which is really sad.
Yeah, because I know when he was in a nursing home, his roommate would always ask for me or talk about me when we weren't there.
Yeah. How sad, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I will say this. I mean, we, like I said, I really do feel like this whole life is kind of a game. And let's call it, a game board, right? So we before we come here, we look at the spirits and the people that are going to be in our lives and their spirits, and they say, okay, what role are you playing in my life this time? Okay, you're gonna be the narcissist this time in my life. You're gonna make these changes in my life, and you're gonna spark me to be able to create this greatness over here. Yes, it's going to be a traumatic part here, but I'm going to create greatness over here. So your contribution will help me to do that. And then the other one goes, why didn't I play the narcissist last time? Why do I have to play it again? And then you go, but wasn't it so much fun, right? And so then, if you begin to look at it as this whole thing is a game, and then there's a gamekeeper that will throw in speed bumps and obstacles in your way, then you begin to understand how much this really is just a learning tool for us. This is kind of like, let's call it college or elementary school or something where we're learning the basics, and then we're learning to maneuver and get away from all of the speed bumps and the obstacles that are being thrown, and learning how to really truly remain true to ourselves as we're navigating this illusion, let's call it.
Interesting.
If we look at it that way, then we don't really have evil people. We just have people that are playing really good roles.
Mm-hmm.
So your dad played a really good role. He was very good. Might as well give him an Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
He played a very good role in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you benefit from that? So the bad traumatic stuff that happened here, what's the wonderful thing that's being created over here from that experience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you know, Mommy?
I don't know.
Not really sure.
Well, see, that I gave you lots of things to kind of ponder over the next time before we talk again. And hopefully the next time we're on, Rhea has her microphone and we can just be chit-chatting.
Yeah, I have another microphone for her.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? We have like a what do they call, a panel discussion?
Yeah, we'll have to do this again soon.
Yes, I would love to. I mean, we always have so much fun on our calls, right?
I know. I love this.
Interesting. You're very interesting too.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Thank you, Rhea. Yeah, I really, these conversations, we can get so much deeper, right? We can talk about why is it we choose what we choose, and why is it we're affected by certain people and not affected by others, and why do we draw certain lessons in our lives, and why have we asked these people to play these roles in our lives?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, do we choose what families we're born into before we're born?
I would say yes. I would say that we actually choose, what type of experience we want, and those are our family members. I truly do believe that a lot of our family members are, if you want to call loosely, soulmates, right? They're part of the
Mm,
same soul family. But when you feel like you're the black sheep of the family and you just don't fit in, those are the brave souls that jump to other soul families and say, let me incarnate somewhere else so that I can experience these people in this environment. Although it seems to backfire a lot.
mhm. Mom was surprised that I had made up to her cousin recently because I needed our lawnmower wasn't working right and the blade kept skipping over and it was dull. And I took it down. I said, Gino, she goes, what? I said, can you sharpen my blade for
No,
me?
you asked who.
Oh, do I know anybody who could sharpen a blade? And he said, I'll do it. I can do it for you. That's kind of like open the relationship communication door back up again.
Isn't that fantastic
Yeah.
that you guys were able to make that happen?
hmm And just yesterday I said, I love you, cousin. And he's like, I love you too. He goes, we
Oh,
gotta stick together.
wow.
We gotta stick together because we're the black sheep.
Yes, fantastic. And you know what? I mean, I don't know if you're the black sheep because I definitely do feel that you are, your mom and everybody's in your soul family.
Uh-huh.
But I do feel that you probably have challenged yourself a lot more than you normally would have.
hmm
You were really ambitious in this lifetime. You were like, okay, it's time for me not only to learn from my dad, but to learn from health issues, and I'm gonna have the greatest comeback ever. I'm gonna overcome all of these obstacles, and I'm gonna create this greatness over here on this side because of it.
hmm
You
Wow.
really took on a lot. You really were like, I got this.
That's what people have told me. Goes, you got this, Tim. You got this. They said enough's enough already, but you got this.
I think I think it bears repeating that, when you're truly meant to connect with people, when they are on your path and they're supposed to be part of your life, they will be, regardless of the obstacles, regardless of anything that's happening in your life. When you're truly meant to connect with somebody, you will.
Interesting.
And I feel like that has to do with soulmates and friends and family and all that. So when you're truly meant to come back to your family, you will.
Yeah, you meet people for a reason, right? I mean,
100%.
yeah, people
Yes.
come in your lives for a reason. Whether
Come and go, huh?
maybe you're meant to learn something or learn something from that person or the experience that you had with them. There's a reason for it. There's a reason why
Yes.
people come in your life. There's a
Yes.
specific reason.
And you
Yeah.
pay attention to that intuition, that gut feeling. Do I
Mhm.
like this person or do I not like this person? Do they give me a happy feeling or do they give me a not so happy feeling? Whatever that feeling is, pay attention, because that is your spirit saying to you, something is right here, something is not right here. Yeah, paying attention to that is really important.
Shannon, I know we have to go, and I know you have to go as well. But I really enjoyed this last 2 hours. I really enjoyed the last week, and then this week even more.
That was fun.
It's a lot of
Yes,
fun.
we might have to make this a monthly thing.
I was thinking about that a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, we could have panel talks with Shannon, Rhea, and Tim.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that sounds like fun to me.
Okay.
Yes. Well, sounds great. I look forward to it. Thank you so much for having me on, by the
You're
way.
welcome. I'll have the archive up, and maybe I can even send you a copy of it, an MP3 copy of it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, Shannon, it's been great having you.
Yes, thank you. Bye, Rhea. We'll see you guys soon.
Okay.
Next month.
I'm like your wings.
Oh yes, thank you.
Yeah, you are. She does.
Yes. Well, you have an amazing night. Thank you so much for having me. And anybody that wants to connect with me, shannonleischner.com, and on Facebook, Shannon Leischner, and Instagram, Angelic Guide.
Okay, thank you, Shannon.
Thank
We'll talk
you. Have a
soon.
good night.
Okay, okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night. Mhm.